Coach is back here with Georgia Southern's head coach, Mark Byron, here on the Bossman Show with a big game against their rival, Georgia State, this weekend on Senior Day. Coach, I know this is a big week for you and your guys, man. You got Georgia State coming down to play you guys. I know you guys get excited with it being March here.
Yeah, if you love college basketball, if you love basketball at all, I mean, March is a special time of year for you. And the fact that we can play Georgia State, play on Senior Night, play for a championship on the line, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
And, Coach, you've been on a good run here. 6-6 in a row to get to 12-5 in conference play, 20-10 overall. What's been the key factors for you guys turning it around here going on this run you've been on so far?
Well, we finally started to play defense. And, if you look at some of our statistics, we've been top 10 in the country. And a lot of offense statistics with points per game and field goal percentage. And so we've been good on offense most of the year, but we've been real inconsistent on defense. And the last 6 games, almost kind of starting since we were last playing in Atlanta against Georgia State, we started playing much better defense, and and the wins started taking care of themselves.
Now, Coach, was it a scheme change or a player change? What kind of spark this defensive commitment your team has went to now?
Yeah, it's not really much of a player change. We got we lost probably our second best player, preseason all conference guy. He hasn't played in conference play this year. Got him Ike Smith, who's probably one of the best 5'10" players in the Sun Belt. And so we had to deal with that early on of not having him, some rotation things, and figuring out who's going to play at what spots and some roles. But since then, it's been more of a commitment to defense. We're pressuring a little bit more, doing some things in the half court and full court that have been able to turn some teams over. But the main thing, really, I mean, it's just more of a commitment. I mean, the guys have understood that we're going to score points, and we can't try to win games in the 80s, so we got to try to get the stops.
You got there right, Coach, because this time of year, defense travels this time of year in March here, and if your shot's not there, if you can defend and stop the other guys, you have a chance to win still if your shot's not there.
Yeah, it's funny. We played Georgia State in the Sun Belt Championship my first year in the league, and the score was 38-36. Not at halftime. That was the final score. So both teams brought their defense that day, but not offense, but the defense gave us both of us a chance to win.
Now, Coach, I feel the non-conference skills you guys played really toughen you guys up. Some tough losses there, some adversity. I feel like those lessons that you learned back in November, December are helping you guys here in February and March.
Yeah, you're exactly right. The strength of schedule for RPI is top 25 in the country, and it wasn't really by choice. It kind of just happened. Not a lot of teams wanted to play against Tukey Brown and Ike Smith and Monte Glenn. So the only teams that we could find to play us were all really good teams. And so next thing you know, you're going to Central Florida, who's in the top 25 right now. You're going to play at Dayton, who's one of the best college basketball environments in the country, and Arizona and Radford and some places like that. And even our home games, East Tennessee State's really good. We played Bradley at home, George Mason at home. So we didn't have any easy wins or easy games at all. So it did make us tougher. But to be truthful, it wasn't by choice. We just couldn't find anybody else to play us.
And, Coach, I can only imagine the next year will be even harder because you're good again. Who wants to play? Who wants to take a potential L? And, man, Coach, I can only imagine the headache you and your staff get trying to schedule these games for non-conference. I can only imagine the headache you get.
Well, I've had a lot of people just flat out tell me that they're not going to play us until Tukey Brown graduates. And Saturday's his last home game. It's last year. So I'm going to hold some people to the word that they're going to have to play us next year because Tukey Brown will be playing professional basketball somewhere.
And speaking of Tukey Brown from Madison, Georgia, out there, exit 113 off I-20, what's he meant to your program, coming to you guys, and what's he meant for you on and off the court to set an example for the young guys on your team and guys on the roster who are even sophomores and juniors who are coming up behind him? What has he meant to you guys this year and beyond?
Well, the simple answer is everything. And to make it longer and kind of elaborate on it, he's given us a name, throughout the state of Georgia. He's given us a name nationally. He's given us a chance to compete for championships every single year. I mean, his freshman year, we were the youngest team in the country. We finished fifth in the league, so we've been, a third or higher ever since then. And that's a big thing to him. But he sets the tone because of his work ethic, how unselfish he is. He's the school's all-time leading scorer, and I tell people the honest truth that he could score probably 1,000 more points if he wanted to. but he wanted to try to make the right play. He wanted to try to get the assist, get his teammates involved. And that just sets the tone for work ethic, unselfishness, all the things that a coach dreams of.
You got that right, Coach. And if I recall, Coach, was he committed to Mississippi State? Then he came to you guys after Rick Ray got fired. Is that correct?
Yeah, unfortunately, Rick Ray got fired, and it helped out the Sun Belt because we got Suki Brown, and then Georgia State gets DeMarcus Diamond, so it helped out both of us.
Oh, yeah. Those guys both be in the NBA, I think, next year. Tukey and DeMarcus. Those guys have a great career ahead of them. Now, on your roster now, Coach, who are some other guys that this year's really played a big role for you guys as you guys have won 20 games again this year?
Well, we have a sophomore in Quan Jackson, who I think is going to be voted all-conference here next week. And he's had a tremendous sophomore year. Defensively, getting steals. He gives us an explosive score. We have a new player to our program, Isaiah Crawley, who's played very good in his first year. And then Monte Glenn, he's a senior as well from Carrollton, Georgia. And, he's as valuable as anybody we have on the team. Sometimes his statistics don't kind of, blow up on the page and people don't see him. But he does so much for us on the court and extremely valuable, all the little things that he does with leadership and making plays for us.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, the I-20 connection, Carrollton, West Georgia, Tukey, heading towards Augusta, the I-20 connection there. I tell you what, Coach, I feel like the guys you have a lot of junior and senior experience you can go to. And this time of year, you need guys who've been through those wars and are battle tested. And that you feel good about having guys who you can trust to know your system, know your scheme, know what to do when times get tough and not be scared of the moment.
Yeah, and I like the fact, too, everything you said, I like the fact, too, that these guys bought in to continue to get better throughout the season. And, college basketball, it's 5.5 months long. And it is a long, long season, a lot longer than football and baseball, college, these college sports. But our guys have bought in, just not coming to practice, trying to keep getting better individually and as a team. And so we've gone on a winning streak lately, but the credit deserves to the guys because they just love basketball. They want to keep getting better. And I still think we got another level left in us, so hopefully we can find that in this next month.
Now, Coach, speaking of player development, it's real key at the mid-major levels as player development piece. So, Coach, throughout the year, do you still work the guys on the individual games, doing those individual drills and one-on-one sessions? You still have them go through like the workouts you would do in April, May, and June? Or you kind of just work it outside practice as well, get the guys up shots, get them to run through different drills, defensive, offensive, to get better? So what's your approach to getting guys better all year long, in season and out of the season there, Coach?
Well, both. A lot of times the guys are coming and getting shot today, with an assistant coach or on their own. And that helps in a way. But at the same time, we spend the first 40 minutes of every practice on ball handling, shooting, and passing. And just sticking with the fundamentals there. And then on Mondays, most of the time, if we play on a Thursday, Saturday, our Monday is about 90% just fundamentals and skill development. So we stay with it all year. And it's something that I love seeing. I love seeing guys get better. I got 2 freshmen in my top 8 guys, and the amount of improvement they made since the beginning of the season is tremendous. And I think the skill development and sticking with the fundamentals has been a big reason why.
You got that right, Coach. When they get that foundational of how to play the game the right way and those right skills, man, they can make them guys become max them out and whatever they want to be. Because at your level, if you develop the guy just right, by the time he's a junior or senior, he can be a high major player with his body, with his skill and his mindset. Can maybe help you guys win games on their own if it gets down to it in a real tight situation there, Coach.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think what every kind of mid-major coach wants is by the time his guys are juniors or seniors to be as good as any player they might go against that's in the ACC or SEC or whatever, because of the fact that they have gained the strength now. They've got the maturity, but also their skill development and experience they got. That's what you want. You're going to see it a lot here in the NCAA tournament. You're going to see some teams pop up and get some people, and most of the time you see it, you'll see these teams that have a lot of juniors and seniors kind of been through a lot of things.
You got that right, Coach. Now, Coach, you got a good draw this time. Playing Georgia State with at least a 4 or 5 day prep on these guys. Because the Ron throws all kinds of zones at you. So getting guys prepared for that zone defense, you gotta love having these many days to get ready for that.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. That's you need a couple more days to get ready for them. They're one of the best defensive teams in our league every single year. It's a tricky zone. It's unusual. You don't see it any other time throughout the year. So It's not like Syracuse's 2-3 zone or some of the other zones. So it definitely has some, a lot of nuances to it. And I've been going against it now for 6 years, and I still can't, pick all the parts of it because it's ever changing. He does a great job with it. So we got to be able to, pass, catch clean. When we get open shots, be able to make them. And then we got to be able to adjust. 'Cause a lot of times their zone will kind of adjust to something, anything that you're doing well, and don't make adjustments to try to take them away.
Now, Coach, your conference is still, Coach, is just playing real well. You got Georgia State, yourself, Texas State with 12 wins. Other teams right there at 8 or 9 right behind you. So even the guys who are below 8 wins are tough outs every night. So in your league, to me, there's no easy nights in the Sun Belt Conference this year. So for you as the coach, do you feel the same exact way, knowing every night your guys have to compete and bring it because you can be beaten on any given night by any one of these teams? Record be damned there.
Yeah, you have to bring it every single night. And what we do in our league is we play Thursday, Saturday. So a lot of times, you get really hard travel in our league. Our league stretches all the way across to the Arkansas and Texas. We're in Alabama, we're in the Carolinas and Georgias, of course. But it goes all the way across. So sometimes, you see weather delays and battling different things and sicknesses and that kind of thing. It is hard to maneuver your way through an 18-game schedule in the Sun Belt. And if you don't bring it any night, you're going to lose the game. And we kind of seen that all throughout the year in our league.
Well, Coach, best of luck to you in Saturday against Georgia State, and also good luck to you in New Orleans. So hope to talk to you again down the road here, Coach, when you get that ticket to the big dance, man.
That sounds good. I appreciate you having me on.
Anytime, Coach. Thank you again, buddy.
All right, thank you.
All right, folks, it's Mark Byronson here on the Bossman Show, people.
My heart skips skipping the beat. You're not close enough, so that space between you and me, let's lose it. The way you're dancing, swaying to the music, girl, that body and how you move it. Every time you cross my mind, girl, I lose it.
Alexa, play the Country Heat playlist. Okay.
I don't think you know what you're doing to me. You got
With Amazon Music, a voice is all you need. Get tens of millions of songs. Download the Amazon Music app today.
All right, folks, here in the Jared the Boss Man Show. We're joined by Chris Kirshner from The Athletic, covering the Atlanta Hawks here for us. Chris, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Just want to get your thoughts, Chris, first of all, on the Hawks and what you saw them since from October until now, the improvements you've seen in the roster. Starting guys, just give us a little overview how you feel about how the seasons went so far for the Hawks.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the Hawks so far have exceeded expectations. Coming into the season, there were a lot of people who thought the Hawks were going to be the worst team in the league, and obviously that hasn't been true. Some people even thought the Hawks were only going to win 19 games this season, and they've already exceeded that number. So, I mean, I think that just shows you the kind of job that Lloyd Pierce and his staff have done. I was looking at some stats last night. 6 of the 9 top players on the Hawks, as far as minutes per game leaders go, have less than 3 years of experience. So, I mean, what they're doing, I mean, obviously the record isn't showing, the success. They're over 20 games under 500, but I truly think that, this team has shown that they're heading in the right direction, obviously led by Trae Young and John Collins, the second-year power forward out of Wake Forest, averaging almost 20 points and 10 rebounds per game. Trae, what he's done since the All-Star break in particular has been nothing short of impressive and spectacular. He's probably second right now as far as Rookie of the Year race goes, trailing Luka Doncic from the Dallas Mavericks. But, I mean, I don't think there's really anything bad you can say about what Trae has done. I know some fans and, obviously a lot of national media has criticized the Hawks' decision to trade Doncic for Trae Young and Dallas's first-round pick this upcoming draft. But, I mean, I truly think that, I don't think it's fair to judge that trade just yet, just because, Trae has shown that, he's very capable of leading a team. And who knows what this draft pick can bring the Hawks in this upcoming draft if that pick does convey. It is top 5 protected, but, I do think that the Hawks are heading in the right direction, and that's really all you can hope for in a rebuilding process.
Now, Chris, I have some fans who listen to the show who have said to me directly they feel like the Hawks have won too many games in their opinions. they're fifth in the draft pick standings here right now. I have fans say
Right.
that the Hawks have won too many games. Now, I will say this, who is a guy who goes to the games pretty often. I do feel like we can see less of Bazemore and Dedmon and to a degree, to kind of not be so good to win so many games. But I feel like you kind of you got to have the guys to cover. A lot of injuries on the team as well. You got to be
Right.
respectable per se. And then I know what the fans are wanting to do is to rebuild and get Zion Williamson. But do you feel like the Hawks maybe could play less of Bazemore and Dedmon, because you can't bench Vince Carter. Vince Carter is going to sell tickets for the Hawks. You can't bench him. People want to see the legend one more time, or if we know he's going to retire or not. So, but beyond that, do you think they can maybe do less of Dedmon and Bazemore and play more of the young guys, and let Vince do his thing with the second unit pretty much, and let the fans enjoy him?
Yeah, I mean, well, right now it's particularly hard for the Hawks to do that, just because they have some injuries right now, especially in the front court. Last night they lost Alex Poitras, who's going to miss some time, rolled his ankle. Amari Spellman, the rookie out of Villanova, rolled his ankle a few games ago. He's going to miss 4 weeks. So, you have to play guys. You can't just roll out 3 guys on the court and say, all right, let's go 5-on-3. I mean, they have to play. I mean, it's just a matter of basketball. But I totally understand why fans wouldn't want guys like Kent Bazemore on the court, or when Jeremy Lin was with the team prior to the trade deadline, why they wouldn't want him out on the court. But what I can say is that, obviously with this being a rebuilding process, it's not like the Hawks are winning games because of guys like Kent Bazemore or Alex Len or Dwayne Dedmon. I mean, they're winning games because of the success out of the young players. And if you're a fan of a rebuilding team, I think that's all you can really hope and want for, especially in a rebuilding process, because that shows you that, okay, like, obviously these guys are very young right now. Playoffs aren't expected, but, if they can win with guys like Trae Young and Kevin Huerter and John Collins, I mean, that just shows you that, okay, like, there's reason to be optimistic for next year or the year after that. Because right now you're laying a foundation, and you want these guys to, have some success. You don't want them to be like the Phoenix Suns, who have only won 13, 14 games this season. I mean, and the Suns were actually in town, I think it's now 2 weeks ago, and that locker room was just absolutely miserable. Like, you could tell, like, they're not having fun. You go into the Hawks locker room, totally different. They genuinely enjoy each other. They genuinely enjoy playing with each other. And that's so important, because when they do start winning games at a higher clip, I mean, it's only going to make them that much better, because this team chemistry right now is super strong. And for a team who's only won just over 20 games, I mean, that shows you the promise that this team has. So what I would say for the fans who are hoping the Hawks lose more games, last night's game against the Spurs was one of 12 games to end the season, 12 of 17 games to end the season against current playoff teams. So, I mean, I expect the Hawks to lose more games. So it's not like they're going to be on this incredible winning streak, beating teams like the Bucks twice. They have them twice to end the season. They have Philadelphia to end the season twice. The Blazers are coming to town. So, I mean, they have a bunch of tough games coming up. So, I mean, for the fans who are hoping for losses, I mean, I think those are going to come as the season ends.
Now, Chris, a guy who I'm worried about might not be a part of the future is Torian Prince, because he's had an up and down year, and you got all these young talent here with Kevin Huerter and those guys. You got draft picks next year as well. I feel like the Hawks are going to start paying guys down the road here soon. And Torian Prince is somebody you can't pay what he's done this year, being so up and down.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with you, and it's going to be interesting to see what the Hawks do, especially this upcoming summer, because Torian is due for that rookie extension, and, he definitely, hasn't shown much to warrant a pricey extension, which is probably something that he's going to hope for. I mean, any player is hoping for a big payday, but from what Torian has shown this year, I mean, I just can't see the Hawks giving him that kind of money that he probably wants. So it'll be interesting to see how he responds if he does not get that contract extension, which he's eligible for this upcoming summer. And if he doesn't get that contract extension, he goes into next season, hoping to, get that payday at the end of the following season. So, but yeah, I mean, from what he's shown this year, I mean, I don't think he's taken a leap forward in his progress. Defense has been a huge question this year, and it's surprising too because heading into this season there were so many expectations of what Torian can do for this team. Torian was expected to be one of the stars of this team, and he just hasn't really shown that side of his game all that much this year. I mean, he's definitely had some games where you see like, okay, like this is the Torian that they expect night in, night out, but we just haven't seen that. So yeah, it's hard to say where he fits into the Hawks' future plans. I mean, from talking to people inside the organization, it seems like it's hot and cold. There's some nights where they're like, Torian, he's one of the better catch and shoot 3-point players in the league. The potential for being a lockdown defender is there. And then there are other nights where, they say like, they can't see him a part of the future plan. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, especially with this draft coming up. Especially in those top 10 picks, there are likely going to be several wings that the Hawks can acquire in the draft. If Dallas's pick conveys, the Hawks will have 2 top 10 picks, and that gives you the opportunity to draft some really high-level wing players like Duke's Cam Reddish if the Hawks end up in that 4 to 6 range, which is where they're at right now. Texas Tech's Jarrett Culver would fit really nicely with the Hawks. So, come the end of June when that draft rolls around, if the Hawks, exit the first round with 2 wing players, I mean, I think that's going to show us what the Hawks exactly think of Torian Prince. But as of right now, I mean, he's a big question mark for the future plans, and it's kind of a shame because they'd had such high expectations for him heading into the season with the way he ended last year, just on a big scoring streak. And Coach Mike Budenholzer, before he left Atlanta, definitely gave the keys to Torian, and he showed what he could do last year, but it just hasn't translated into this season. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Now, Chris, with all these draft picks coming up here that the Hawks are owed, does the pick from the Cavs come the Hawks' way too, or is that protected real good as well?
Yeah, that one's not going to come this year. That's top 10 protected, and Cleveland right now is 3rd in the lottery standings. So, there's no way for them to be outside of the top 10. So that's going to transfer to next year's draft, and Cleveland's pick is also protected top 10. If it doesn't come through next season, then the following, I think it's 2021 and 2023, if I got those years right, it turns into 2 second-round picks.
Got you. Now, all these picks the Hawks have, I feel like there may be just a Boston waiting to happen, having too much talent, which is not a bad thing, but I feel like, you have to decide which guys fit and which guys don't. And I wouldn't want to just burn draft picks and have them flame out on me either. So it's like I'm kind of concerned about all the picks the Hawks have in the future and all these young guys now. How do you determine who stays, who goes, who you pay, who you don't? That's just what I worry about with the Hawks getting to that point of just having too much of a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, and you're not the only ones to worry about that because General Manager Travis Schlenk said that a few weeks ago. He thinks that, this upcoming draft, the Hawks have 5 draft picks, and he thinks that may be too many for the Hawks as is. So, it's possible that they, package some picks and either try and acquire a veteran player or a young player to help accelerate the rebuilding process. I don't think the Hawks are going to end up, when they end up doing their press conference right after the draft and when training camp rolls around, it would be a surprise to see 5 rookies enter training camp. I mean, that's just too many. So, yeah, I don't think that 5 rookies are going to, be on the Hawks roster next year. We can definitely see potential, especially with those second-round picks. Travis drafts a couple of European guys and stashes them overseas or, brings them to the G League team that's coming to Atlanta. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely concern that, there's too much young talent, because sometimes when you have too much young talent, as you mentioned, the Boston Celtics, it's too much, and it's an influx of egos and personalities, guys wanting the ball. So yeah, you don't want that situation, and it's something that, especially with this past trade deadline, Travis Schlenk didn't want to acquire draft picks for this upcoming draft because they already had 5 draft picks, which is too many. So he was hoping to acquire future assets. That didn't happen because teams didn't want to part ways with what the Hawks were offering in return. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely some, I guess, I wouldn't call it concern, because, what the Hawks are doing right now, you want to have as many chances to get a star player as possible. And the best way to do that right now in a young rebuilding process is through the draft. So I wouldn't necessarily look at it as a negative, but they definitely have to find a way to balance the young guys that are coming into this upcoming team, this upcoming year, as far as balancing it out with the guys that are currently on the team, because like you mentioned, they have to figure out who's going to be a part of this rebuilding process and who's not. I think we'll get more clarity on that as the season ends.
Yes, then with Chris, I thank you for your time today, man. I will see you at the arena Saturday and Sunday, because I'll be coming to those games. So hope to catch up with you back there in the media room and locker room or something. We'll catch up one way or another, brother. Thank you again for your time today.
For sure. Thanks, man.
All right, folks, it's Chris Kirster here on the Bossman Show from the Athletic, covering your Atlanta Hawks.
It's maybe the night that my dreams might let me know all the stars are closer, all the stars are closer.
Tell me what you gonna do to me. Confrontation ain't nothing new to me. You could bring a bullet, bring a sword, bring a morgue, but you can't bring the truth to me.
Alexa, play Kendrick Lamar and SZA.
Okay.
Maybe the night that my dreams might let me know all the stars are closer.
With Amazon Music, a voice is all you need. Get tens of millions of songs. Download the Amazon Music app today.
All right, folks, back here on the Bossman Show, joined by Matt Ellen, Tuck of SB Nation. What is good, Matt? How you doing, brother?
Hey, what's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome, man. I want to start with y'all. I know you're in D.C., man. And my former friend, Dwight Howard, is up there. We're not friends anymore. Don't know why that is, but things went south with me and Dwight. How are the Wizards doing? And is he ever going to come back from that injury he has?
Wizards, they're certainly something, man. They're not exactly doing what I would do or what I think anyone would advise to do in trying to hunt down that 8th seed, but they're somehow still alive in the playoff hunt. I don't know. It's just such a weird season, man. Just so many injuries and so many midseason trades and locker room turmoil and very few real bright spots. I think we learned that Bradley Beal's a real star, so I guess that's a real nice point. And maybe the Wizards have something in Troy Brown because he's finally starting to get minutes. But besides that, it's just like a very lackluster kind of hunt for the 8th seed.
So the Wizards are pretty much stuck in NBA purgatory in the middle of nowhere, pretty much. And with John Wall out for another year, pretty much same thing next year, too.
Yep, that's it.
Now, you trade Otto Porter away. We trades, that when you trade away Markieff Morris, Wall is out. The Wizards, I know Leon said he would never tank, but come on, man. You got to you're stuck in purgatory. You're not going anywhere. Use that Beal asset to make do what the Hawks are doing, rebuild, start over again while John Wall's out, and build around Wall. Hopefully he comes back to some halfway near what he was. But just sticking with what you got, you're going to be losing fans, and people will be like, oh, is this the Wizards doing what the Wizards do, which is nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I would have traded Beal at the deadline. I guess, we're people on the outside who don't have to look at the business metrics of it and worry about making money. But from a pure basketball standpoint, hell yeah, I would have tore that place down. I mean, there's no need for guys like Trevor Ariza and Jeff Green who are in their 30s and, are more interested in actually maybe winning games than
hunting for a lower seed. Like, dish those guys off. Let's play Thomas Bryant some more. Let's play Troy Brown some more. Let's play Sam Decker some more. That would be my goal. But then again, I'm not a multi-millionaire owner, so maybe I'm doing it wrong.
Well, the Wizards have been doing it wrong for years, so you can't be no worse than what they've been doing.
From a basketball standpoint, yeah, I mean, it hasn't been pretty.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, they should bring you or I in as a consultant to help them see the light. Like, come on, man. Let's get something going here. Now, Matt, we know here in Atlanta we have a lot of debate about Doncic v. Young, Rookie of the Year debate. Trae Young, since the All-Star break, has been on fire. He's been carving up fools. He even got ejected for staring at somebody on Sunday against the Bulls. And Chris Dunn, who is you need to know his role, so shut his mouth. He ain't nothing out on the court out there. So how do you feel about that debate between Trae Young and Luka Doncic? Who is your Rookie of the Year? And going forward, who do you see having the most upside as you see it right now, brother?
I mean, right now, I think Luka's like the runaway Rookie of the Year candidate. I don't think that Trae can really catch up to him at this point. Luka has just been like unreal, man. I mean, rookies don't play like this. Rookies don't look like he does. Rookies don't step up in big moments like he does. Luka's just had like an all-around crazy-ass year. But that's not to say that Trae hasn't been really, really good, too. And I think in other years, Trae Young could probably win Rookie of the Year. But Luka's just unreal. As far as the future, though, I think they're both all-stars. We're always going to worry about Trae's defense, and I know that that's something that him and his trainer have, made like a focal point of that being what he needs to work on each and every summer, and gaining some weight and putting on some upper body strength, because that'll help him too to make up for his small size. But even if Trae doesn't become a great defensive player, he's so good on offense. His range is limitless. His passing is crazy. I mean, this guy has unreal vision. We saw it in college, so it shouldn't be like that. That's shocking. But I really think that Luka and Trae are going to battle head-to-head for years and years, and they're both all-star quality guys. I'd still lean Luka. I still see Luka as more of an MVP candidate, that I'm not sure Trae will get to that level, but they're both just unreal. They're both so good.
Now, Matt, what is your prognosis on the Hawks? How many years away do you think they are? I tell people they're 2 years away from contending. Some people say 3. How do you feel about that?
I mean, that's always going to be a matter of like how they can play the free agent market and how they can market Trae Young as being a guy that other guys should want to come to Atlanta to play around. But they have some great pieces. I mean, even besides Trae, I'm a huge fan of Kevin Huerter. I watched him play at Maryland. That's where I went to school. He's a real piece that helps you rebuild quicker. I know Amari Spellman hasn't been great, but I still think he's going to be a piece also. I mean, Taurean Prince is a piece. It's a matter of if they can lure star power, and I'm not sure how many years Trae Young has to be really good before another star says, hey, I want to play with Trae. It's also going to, I guess, depend on what draft pick they come away with, right? If they come out with Zion in June, that flips the whole script too. So we'll see. I think it's a matter of waiting, but they are definitely, I think, ahead of schedule. I didn't think they were going to be this good this soon, even though they're bad, if that makes sense.
Unfortunately, we won too many games. I've seen too much of Kent Bazemore, Dwayne Dedman, and Alex Len for my liking. So
I'm with you on that. 100. I can feel you as a person who's watched Washington play older guys instead of their younger guys. I get you.
Yeah, I've seen too much of those guys. Hopefully, playing 12 teams in the playoff hunt with winning records next 17 games will help the Hawks be worse and maybe seal a top 5 pick. Hopefully.
I think so. I think you're good, but damn.
I know, right? Now, another team who's might need to turn into tank mode, the LA Lakers. This whole team is went straight to hell, Matt, because you got young guys with ego trying to prove themselves. LeBron James comes in with his aura and his ego and his passive-aggressive ways. He likes to attack people. Then you got guys like Rondo, McGee, and Lance Stevenson on one-year prove-it deals. So this team was bound to combust. So I'm not shocked this team went straight to hell in the tank for us this season. I know that was in the fourth in the West when LeBron was healthy, but come on, we know that he wasn't really that good. It was just LeBron James being at full strength. And this is what I also see here, Matt. Losing Lonzo Ball was more critical than they thought he was, because without Lonzo Ball, they're now 5-14 without him since he got hurt in Houston. So that tells me LeVar, in his weird way, maybe on to something with the Lakers there with his son Lonzo Ball.
Well, yeah, I mean, Lonzo's great. I think Lonzo is an all-star caliber player, too. He's a terrific defender, and he's obviously an upgrade over Rondo. I mean, no offense to him, but he isn't it anymore. Yeah, I mean, the Lakers, to me, I agree with you. I think we all kind of knew this over the summer, that this team was just very, very poorly constructed. We're all aware at this point that you need to surround LeBron with shooters, and they somehow managed to come away an entire summer without a real reliable shooter. So, yeah, I mean, they faltered. Then LeBron got hurt for a long stretch of time, and Lonzo got hurt a couple of times. Ingram got hurt. So it isn't surprising that they're out of the playoff hunt. Obviously, it just became a total disaster around trade deadline time when everything got out about what the Lakers' plans were to basically trade half their freaking team for Anthony Davis, and that's sort of a thing you have to keep under really tight wraps unless it actually happens. And then we saw, the downward spiral from that, and the frustration from the kids, the frustration from the vets, the frustration from LeBron. So, yeah, I mean, I think this Lakers season has been an all-out, disaster for the most part. I mean, luckily everyone isn't too injured and they'll be fine for the next year, but they really have to hit a home run this summer in some sort of a way, and maybe they can find a way to salvage that Anthony Davis deal, or else they've kind of broken the trust from Kuzma and Ingram and Hart and all of those guys who are essential to the core of the team if LeBron ages out.
You got that right. Now, Matt, are you shocked at the quiet buyout market we had this year? It really shocked me how quiet it's been on the buyout. Usually each year the buyout market is really kind of like the thing, but this year it's kind of like it came and it went so fast with nothing other than Cantor, Wes Matthews, and a few other guys.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of guys, right? Yeah, Cantor's one, Markieff Morris to Oklahoma, Pau Gasol to Milwaukee. A couple of guys found, and now Bogut, I guess you want to consider him like a buyout market type of guy. But, yeah, I mean, I think there's just so few contenders that, I don't think that many teams actually think they have a shot in this. Maybe it's Golden State, Oklahoma City, Toronto, Milwaukee as like the real threats. But I think at least this is probably going to be an easier Golden State win, just like it has been in the past. It's more of next year when maybe Golden State breaks apart in some way, KD leaves, Clay leaves, whoever it might be, that teams are more open and guys are more open to join another stacked team to try to win a title. But I think when you have a starting five like Golden State does, it kind of hurts your interest in forming a super team somewhere else.
Matt, I was talking about this on another show today here on our station about I feel like DeMarcus Cousins is going to be a guy that he played based on matchups because he cannot not defend the pick and roll to save his life. I know he's a great offensive player, but he's slow on defense, and Golden State can't switch with him on the court. They have to actually play real team defense with him on the court. So that's just for those guys, and I feel like he'll be a liability in the sense of you play a James Harden or Russell Westbrook, you're going to put him in pick and rolls every time. You can't really play him unless you have Adams on the court or Nene or some or Capella. If you got Faria there for Houston, he's screwed. So how do you feel about the Warriors having kind of played Boogie in certain spurts to make him be most successful as possible when he come back off the Achilles injury he has? And he's been a big guy who's not very fast to defend those pick and rolls with Westbrook and Harden there.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting point, too. I think a lot of it's going to come down to however willing DeMarcus Cousins is to be honest with himself about where he stands athletically, because he's obviously been pretty good even after an Achilles injury, which is a crazy serious injury. But you're right, he can't really defend a pick and roll that well. He can't jump out to the 3-point line and guard, and that's going to become a problem when they play first of all, like a rim runner like Kenneth Faried, but also if they wind up playing Milwaukee in the finals. I mean, guarding Brook Lopez is going to be a nuisance for DeMarcus. It's a matter of if DeMarcus is going to be willing to understand that a matchup doesn't make sense for him and is willing to take a minutes cut. But we've never seen Cousins in the playoffs, so we've never seen this side of him. We've never seen the championship run side of DeMarcus Cousins. So let's see if he is actually in it for rings or if he's in it for, just proving himself to make a contract. It's probably some combination of both, but his attitude on whether or not he plays in certain spots is probably going to dictate how much drama comes out of this Golden State team in the final rounds of the playoffs.
Yes, indeed. Well, Matt, great job, my brother. Happy to have you on again in the playoff time real soon, my man. Stay warm in D.C., brother. If you want to get warm, throw out here in Atlanta, brother. Come on down Atlanta and throw out a little bit, brother. Come on down. Love to have you.
Oh, man. Man, I'm going to have to start running down to Atlanta. Too cold up here, man. But thanks so much for having me.
No doubt. That's Matt Ellentuck on the Bossman Show. People from SB Nation. Check him out on Twitter. His work is real good, brothers. Check him out, people.
Till the tears run down from my eyes, Lord, somebody, ooh, somebody, can anybody find me somebody to love?
Alexa, play hits from Queen.
Okay.
Somebody to love. Somebody.
With Amazon Music, a voice is all you need. Get tens of millions of songs. Download the Amazon Music app today.
All right, folks, back in the Bossman Show. Time for my man, J.C. Smith, live from the barbershop. He is getting that line right for clicks tonight. What is good, bro?
Yeah. What's going on, boss, man? As we speak, man, get fresh, man, for the night. You know how it go.
No doubt, but, bro, we started you off with the R. Kelly interview. Bro, what was your thoughts on my man's outburst with Gayle King on CBS this morning, and then the memes on the internet with them putting Chop in the Closet theme his interview with Gayle King? What were your thoughts on that internet sensation that R. Kelly gave us this past Wednesday?
Man, I'll tell you, he's one hell of an actor, man. Kind of remind me like one of the Tyler Perry shows and one of them actors, like, you know what I'm saying? That's what kind of put me in line and trying to play the victim. And Gayle King, to her credit, she had dude pegged from the start. She knew exactly what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? That he was trying to play the victim and trying to get folks on his side because he knows it's the end of the road for him. It's a wrap. They about to put him under the jail now.
Yeah, and now he was also arrested for back child support when he owed.
Yeah.
I mean, they really getting on R. Kelly. Like, they are really putting clamps on Kels.
Yeah, one way or another, they're going to make sure they get him.
No doubt, bro. You know who also won that interview? Beijing. I mean, my man was Beijing to the T, that interview, bro.
But he might be a new sponsor. New sponsor of Beijing.
No doubt. And we got to turn our attention to the Golden State Warriors. Boogie Cousins is really struggling in the pick and roll coverages, man. And I feel like it looked like in this season, on the playoff start, he's going to have to be a situational guy. Well, he's playing the Joker, Nurkic in Portland, Steven Adams, or even a Clint Capella, maybe. If there's no big out there, he's pretty much useless to them besides being on offense because he's such a liability on defense.
Yeah, it seemed like he was, they were talking about him maybe showing signs that he could really, be a factor for Golden State during this playoff run, man. It's coming up for them shortly once the season is. And it's going to be a very interesting thing, like I said, with Boogie to see, how he can, produce in the playoffs for them and what kind of role he can play. But, like, where Golden State gets bounced, you know what I'm saying? Like, in the NBA Finals or, even worse, in the conference finals, man, I would love to see what the fallout is going to be. Does Durant leave, and does Clay leave? It's just so many puzzles, in the that come into play. What's going to happen if they don't, somehow win this thing again, man. So it's very interesting, man. Like I said, the Boogie situation, he can bounce and go somewhere else also, man. So I can't wait for the playoffs to get started, man. See what Golden State does.
Now, you got a big old battle right there for 3, 4, and 5 between OKC, Portland, and Houston. And that's really important to get that 3 seed to avoid the Warriors to the conference finals. When you look at the teams of Houston now, full strength now, with all their guys back, adding Fareed and Marshall. They pretty much rebuilt their team on the cheap this year. Houston has. Portland is up there rising. They got Rodney Hood, the trade deadline. He's been playing well for them. And OKC's kind of been all year long, but Paul George a little bit nicked up here right now. So how do you pay that Western Conference battle for that 3 seed between the Blazers, Rockets, and the Thunder?
Man, I'm telling you, I like Houston. I really like Houston to be able to kind of hold on and grab that top spot there. And also, man, the fact that, you had Chris Paul hurt, and he's coming back healthy. You had Clint Capella hurt. He's coming back healthy, man. Houston could be a problem. Houston could be a problem again, man. They could find themselves right on the cusp of, advancing to another NBA final, man. But it just seemed like with Houston, you just can't count, you can't bet on Chris Paul to make it happen. He just seems like he's cursed, man. Whenever it comes to those, he's a great player, Hall of Fame caliber player, man. But when it comes down to it, you just don't trust him. And I still fully don't trust James Harden yet. Even though as great as he is, I don't trust him, in the playoff setting, but I do trust him to be able to close out this regular season strong and, to hold on, to that top 3 spot there.
Only time he's came up clutch, I remember, was unfortunately against the Grizzlies when he was with the Clippers in Game 7 of FedEx Forum. Only time I remember him coming up clutch is that game of all games.
I remember it well, man. Definitely, man. But like I said, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the West.
Now, bro, the other X Factor is Mike D'Antoni. He showed in that rotation about 7 guys or 8 guys, and that's what got Chris Paul hurt last year, playing all those minutes. Mike D'Antoni loves to play a short rotation, and that tells me that I feel like Houston is going to gas out because they have a long series, and he's playing them all the minutes. Don't play playoffs every other night per se, or you get nights off in between. But those minutes catch up with you, like he did with Chris Paul at the wrong time in Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals.
No doubt, man. Like you said, man, it's short rotation, man, especially with the Rockets situation. They're going to depend heavily on the backcourt with Harden and Paul there. They're going to need somebody else to step up. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can't Harden and Paul, they can't do it all, man. They're going to need a big night from a Capella. They're going to need other guys to step up. A guy who could play a huge role is Austin Rivers. If he can get hot, he's very streaky, man. So come playoff time, if he can string a couple of games where he's giving them, 15, 20 points, man, that could be huge.
Are you shocked that the Clippers are still in this race, even though they've traded away their best players? They're obviously trying to rebuild and retool, and they're still playing scrappy together in this race here, ahead of the Lakers, the Kings, the Timberwolves, and battling with the Spurs and those guys for that 7th, 8th seed there.
You know what? I'm not surprised, man. And Boss, you could probably attest to this also, man. With you growing up, in Orlando, Doc Rivers, before he went to Boston and had the big 3 and everything, with KG. Ray Allen and Paul Pierce, those Orlando teams back in the day used to play hard. Man, they didn't have a lot of talent, but he somehow was able to get the most out of those teams. And I remember that one year Orlando was threatening to make the playoffs, and after they finished right at 500, he got Coach of the Year. Just for that effort. Nobody thought that Orlando team would be able to muster that type of record, to even hover above 500, man. So I'm not surprised. And even before the big 3, he had those Boston teams playing hard as well, man. It's just something about playing for Doc Rivers, man. He gets the most out of his players. He makes the most of the talent that he has, man. Those guys, they play well as a unit. And, when you got dogs like Patrick Beverly on your team, man, when you got guys like leaders like that out there, man, you're going to the other players just feed off of that energy, man. And Montrezl Harrell, man, he's another guy that's high energy, high motor guys, man. So you play with guys like that, you coach guys like that. It just kind of it feeds down to the rest of the team, man. I think that's why you see the Clippers having the success that they're having this year. And I wouldn't be surprised, if they do hold on to the playoff spot. I wouldn't be surprised if they make noise in the playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to win a playoff series, but I can see them extending a first-round series to maybe 6-7 games or something.
Yes, and they're doing that team with Chucky Atkins, Darrell Armstrong, Ben Wallace, unfortunately.
Yeah.
In the Grant Hill signing trade, we traded
there
away.
You go.
Chucky Atkins and Ben Wallace of the Pistons, which helped make the Pistons run great those few years. There was Detroit basketball. And we tried to form a super team in Orlando with Tim Duncan, who rebuffed to stay with the Spurs, Tracy McGrady, and Grant Hill. I think we got Tim Duncan and T-Mac. We still would have done something back in the day, but Grant Hill was still busted up. But if you got all three of them and Grant Hill fizzled out, we still would have been good. If we just had Duncan and McGrady.
It was a great chance. There was a possibility there. It could happen, yeah.
Yes, indeed. Now, bro, the AAF is in Memphis playing at the Liberty Bowl. Ain't many fans coming out to see those guys, man. What's been the problem with drawing fans to watch the AAF team out there in Memphis?
Man, I think it's the fact, Mike Singletary is not the world's greatest coach or anything like that. He's a nice guy, positive guy, whereas the head coach, I like Mike Singletary more as a coordinator per se, more so than a head coach, because he's all defense and that's it. But he did make the right switch by going with Mettenberger over Hackenberg. Man, you talk about two of the lesser quarterbacks to have, but Mettenberger is the better quarterback. Man, he's not much better, but he's slightly better than Hackenberg. Man, so I'm glad they made that switch, and by doing that, they were able to get the first win, of the season there, man. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be successful. I really do. I think it's something that I think eventually it's going to become like the NFL's version of the minor league. So it's a great possibility that can happen.
Now, I think Jason Witten did us all a favor by going back to the Cowboys because, Lord, his commentary was brutal. I think he did us all a favor. And I wonder is he going to take his hairpiece with him to the Cowboys when he goes back to play for them because ESPN was stuck. We were stuck. He wasn't Tony Romo. He messed up things, and he also showed his political leanings too. When he said they getting all left wing with it, so he told us where he stands. So it's like, time for you to go, Jason Witten. So what are your thoughts on Witten in the booth and that 1 year experiment gone bad, and now he's back with the Cowboys?
Man, they give anybody a job up ESPN, man. But all you gotta do is play for the Cowboys. But like I said, he was not Romo. By no means, man. Witten tried. You can tell he gave it a great effort, but it just wasn't him. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't meant for him to be a post, NFL commentator after his career, or whatever. And like you said, he still had longing, still wanted to, still had fire to compete. And that doesn't go away. So not my thing is at this point how much does he have left in the tank to help us? To help the Cowboys going forward, because he was the most athletic guy in the world before he left. He was able to get it done, man. So a year off, did that make him a little bit slower, or it's gonna be interesting to see, man. And because I thought the young guys were coming along at tight end, like the Blake Jarwins of the world. I thought he was developing nicely. I thought Dalton Schultz showed some signs also, man. So if he can come in and help those young guys and help them develop, and he can still give us something, on the field, then I'm all for it, man. But I don't want him coming back. Also, I don't want him coming back to be a hindrance to the young players' development, young tight ends at least.
Yeah, and also Tank Lawrence got the franchise tag with the Cowboys, so that they can't afford Weddle or Earl Thomas. That means you're stuck with Jeff Heath and Xavier Woods back there. What are your thoughts on that? Or should they maybe try to get one of those third-tier safeties behind the Matthews of the world and those guys who are on the market right now?
Well, yeah, as you know, boss, by the Cowboys designating DeMarcus Lawrence again this year with that franchise tag, second year in a row with it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to keep the tag on him for the rest of the season. As you know, this basically just buys them time till July 15th to get a long-term deal done. So they can still maybe work out a long-term deal and then still have money to kind of go after some other needs. I'm not sold on Earl Thomas thing. Earl Thomas, he's going to want big money. I would rather, to be honest, I would rather take that money and maybe look at, if we're going to go safety, why not Collins from the Giants?
He wants $11 million though.
Yeah, I mean, if Earl Thomas talking $11 million, I'd rather put that in a guy that's 25 years old as opposed to a guy that's 30 years old coming off to two knee injuries there, man.
No doubt, well, bro. I know you got a big night tonight at Clicks. What's going on tonight with Memphis Got Talent, bro?
Man, each and every Saturday night, you know what it is. Memphis Got Talent, man. Come on out. If you can rap, sing, whatever your talent is, man, we want you to come out and display it, man. You know, show the city how you get down, show them what you can do. So come on out tonight, man. The livest party spot in the city. Clicks is going down, man. You know what it is. Your boy JC, Three Kings, Trust Us Records, the whole nine.
If my man did this off on the barbershop, bro, I appreciate you, my man. This is the first ever on the Bossman show. You did a good job with the barbershop, bro. They held down for us along the show, bro. They tell the guys, I said thank you.
Man, you know how we do it, man. It's all good.
All right, bro, no doubt, folks. JC Smith on the Bossman show.
My heart skips skipping the beat. You're not close enough, so that space between you and me, let's lose it. The way you're dancing, swaying to the music, girl, that body and how you move it. Every time you cross my mind, girl, I lose it.
Alexa, play the Country Heat playlist. Okay.
I don't think you know what you're doing to me. You got
With Amazon Music, a voice is all you need. Get tens of millions of songs. Download the Amazon Music app today.
All right, folks, back to the Bossman show. Time for Boss and Boss segment this week's show. Holler at my man up there in Jersey, Tony T-Bone Williams. What's good, brother?
The Yankee Doodle Dandy is back. I'm happy to be here. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, brother. It's just winding down another season. The birthday's next week. I know there's a lot going on with March Madness, so, man, bro, I'm excited and happy, brother.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Now, bro, I got to start you off with the New York Giants to let Landon Collins walk in free agency. What are your thoughts on the Giants not wanting to pay Collins $11 million that he wants in free agency? And in that same vein, he feel like Eric Reed signed too early with Carolina, only getting $7 million a year, or he got to take what he can get while he can get it.
Yeah, it's just apparent that Collins wasn't a Gettleman pick. So you know how the new GMs come in and they want their quote unquote their guys. But to me, it's baffling because the Giants have played their hands over the last 2 years as if they're always battling for contention when they should be tanking these last 2 years. And case in point, they bypass quarterbacks of the future for a running back now, even though they're not a now team. So now they're doing it looks like they're kind of trying to slowly rebuild, but not say it in so many words. And I guess by letting Landon Collins test the waters, they're trying to say, let's go with more youth and see what it takes us. But to me, I mean, Landon Collins, he has his struggles in space as a coverage safety, but when you talk about in-the-box safety, he's one of the top 5 in-the-box safeties in the league. So for me, it's kind of weird how now they're trying to go with a rebuild, quote-unquote rebuild, other than trying to do that at least 2 years ago.
Now, does that mean Odell Beckham Jr. could be in play for a trade, or that's still off the table right now?
You know, I absolutely believe that is always on the table. I absolutely believe that Gettleman is one of those guys that's never afraid to make bold moves or even moves that might seem odd. You saw what he did in Carolina. You know, he let a guy like a Steve Smith go, and who still had a lot in the tank. So he's not afraid to make these moves and make these deals. So to me, if Odell ever got traded, it wouldn't totally shock me.
Now, is Dwayne Haskins the buzz up there in the tri-state area? Is that who the Giants looking at taking as to be groomed by Eli Manning for one more year? Or are they going to try to do something else with that pick?
I will say that living in Jersey all my life, I'm only 8 miles from Giant Stadium. So, I mean, almost all my friends who I know in the area are Giants fans. And they all, to a man, they all want Haskins. But you know what? Stranger things have happened in the draft. You know, Gettleman should have gotten a quarterback last year and took the best player on the board, in Saquon, and it didn't help them get any wins. So Gettleman, like I said, is always outside the box in that reference. But you know what? On the hush-hush, deep down, I don't know they'll take Haskins. And I say that if you go by the Giants' history, they don't draft certain players at that position of a certain ilk, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
They don't. It took me long and hard to go back and think about when they had a draftable quarterback, a black quarterback that was just sitting in their laps, and they didn't. And you know what? I can't think of any. I think they got Andre Woodson one year who played at Kentucky, but that was like a 6th-round pick, I think. They had Geno Smith here, but he's never a draft pick. It's just funny. I'm not sure it's coincidence or not, but it's just funny. The Giants really don't delve into the black quarterbacks. So I'm not trying to start any fire, but I'm just saying if you go by the history of that franchise, they really don't do that kind of thing. So I don't know why.
You got that right. I can't really recall a black quarterback with the New York Giants per se. I can't think of one. And the only one I can think of really is Ray Lewis. No, not Ray Lewis. Ray Lucas at the Jets and Geno Smith with the Jets. I can't think of any other minority quarterbacks like can put face to name with up there in the Jersey area, up there in Florham Park, New Jersey, or in East Rutherford, New Jersey, the Meadowlands.
Yeah, there's just a few teams out there historically, for some reason or other, they don't go that route. They don't go that route with their quarterbacks or their coaches. So to me, I don't know. It's kind of a weird anomaly. I don't know. I'm not trying to start anything, Giants fans. I'm just saying that what I know in my tenure as a writer for the Giants, I covered for 10 years. I've lived here for 45 years, so I know the area, I know the team, and I just never seen one really that was a draftable prospect for them.
Now, Nick Foles, the Eagles will not tag him. He'll be allowed to walk in free agency. If I'm Nick Foles, I'm upset. There have been $25 billion guaranteed for 1 year. I will sign that contract and make him trade me. Word on street is he's going to Jacksonville. Would you see him affiliate either in D.C. or in New York if they try to move over Eli Manning? But they probably won't do that. They don't want to make the fans mad like McAdoo did. But how do you see Foles to Jacksonville going under the rule of Tom Coughlin and Doug Marrone down there in Jacksonville, Duval County, one of the courteous counties in Florida is Duval County.
I will say quickly on McAdoo, he was right. So looking back on that, he was right. He got ran out of town for that. Now with Foles going to Jacksonville reportedly, I mean it technically is an upgrade. Obviously, he's a Super Bowl MVP. Although I think it had more to do with Peterson's game plan and that terrible packed defense in that game than Foles lighting it up. I was never really a Foles guy, quite honestly. I think that he's been inflated playing in Philly that year and all that talent around him, where all he had to do is get the ball out of his hands quickly and into the talent's hands. So to me, obviously, it is an upgrade over Bortles. Bortles is, he is what he is. And Marrone, say what you want about him and what he did to the Bills, but I still can't believe he did to the Bills that year as a head coach. He knows how to coach offenses, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he has talent on the perimeter and the backfield, but for some reason they're kind of alienating that talent. They alienated Fournette now. So what does that mean for Fournette going forward? Because Nick Foles needs that running game. He just can't go out there and swing it 45, 50 times a game. So it's an improve over Bortles, but to me, I don't think that makes much difference.
They're trying to get rid of T.J. Yeldon and Carlos Hyde, so Fournette's always injury prone. So I don't know what Coughlin's doing down there in Jacksonville at the Gator Bowl, where they play it. It's not, or Alltel Stadium. How you want to call that place now? Everbank Stadium, whatever the hell that is. Okay. Whatever the hell Everbank is, whatever that is. So we got that. The Bone, you are a Laker fan. The collapse is in full throttle. When the Lakers lost to the Atlanta Hawks on February 12th, it about blew my mind. But I did have fun poking at someone on that roster. A couple of guys, actually. RR and LBJ, who I don't like very much. I enjoyed needling them after that loss to the Atlanta Hawks, who shouldn't have won the game anyway. But beyond that point, what is your feelings on the Laker collapse, and have they quit on LeBron and Luke Walton, Magic and Pelinka?
Well, going back real quick to that loss in ATL, I know someone who called that loss ahead of time because of the party activities down there in Atlanta the night before. So day of, so that didn't shock me then hearing they lost to Atlanta. But this team is done. This team is cooked. I know I went on last week. I said that I will believe it when I see it. That they're out of it. They're out of it. They're done. That, like I said, there's no continuity. There's no teamwork. There's no camaraderie. They have the same issues what they had in Boston, where the guys, the supporting cast, the others, they're not buying into the leader. You know, and you're seeing it. They're not buying in. And when they see the leader half-assed on defense, they're looking around saying, "Why should I try hard?" If we see our supposed playoff activated leader not giving effort on defense, why should I really be all in? And especially if this guy tried to trade me, in February. And you look at it though, because this team as a whole, I know injuries is an excuse, is a valid excuse, but if you look deeper, they're not giving the effort on defense, and they don't trust each other on defense. Anyone in the NBA these days can score because the rules allow it. Anyone can score. Anyone can get buckets. But the real good teams, they show cohesion on defense. They talk on defense. They have each other's back on defense, and this team does not have any of that.
Yes, indeed. The Lakers are like Florida men. They are messed up and bone. We have a Florida man who cut off his own Johnson because the woman he's going to lay with presented him with an unclean cat. So she opened up her legs and this is a rising funk, and you cut your junk off. I don't get the correlation.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Look, we've always said this when we do Florida stuff. There's no reason to ever try to mutilate your own self, cut your own junk off to spite someone else. To say to a woman, "You're dirty and funky, so I'm going to cut mine off." That makes no sense at all.
I'm like, he told the doctor it was a natural reaction because he was scared of what could have got on his junk, so he cut it off. What?
So in order to protect his junk, instead of using a latex or something
to
protect himself, or just walking out the door, he decided to just remove his member. Then that I'll never understand Florida dude for that, man.
I'm like, why would I hurt myself as a reaction to someone else's poor hygiene?
Yeah, like I said, there's never a scenario where I'm going to cut off my own junk. Listen, I don't care if the scenario where I'm trapped in a cave somewhere and they say, you know what, either world peace, in order to get world peace, you must cut off your junk. Guess what? We're going to be a warring world, but I ain't cutting my junk for any circumstance.
Exactly. The last one I got for you, Bone, is this. A Florida man was arrested trying to steal a hot water heater, in which the hot water heater tumbled over him and broke his leg.
You trying to steal it first?
Yes. He's trying to steal a full hot water heater with water in it.
First of all, I didn't know y'all need hot water heaters down in Florida.
I guess for showers, maybe. For showers.
Okay, shower. Okay, shower. But you know what? It's not worth it. It really isn't. And now he has no hot shower. He has no walk. He has to limp around in jail with a broken leg now.
He tried to steal his neighbor's hot water heater for his own, because his went out. His went out.
You know, the funny thing is, you know what? I'm not handy. I'm not big on the tools. I'm not Mr. Handyman. I know I'm not. But I know it takes a lot of work and effort to unhook the hot water heater. So what was his end game? Did he really think he could get away with it?
Exactly. How about drain it first, maybe? They're heavy on the face of they're heavy. But how about you maybe drain it, then try to steal it? Not with it filled up?
Yeah, and the noise though, as far as they're clinking and clanking, like people have to hear this. Like, he didn't think it all the way through.
He did not, and now he's laid up in the Metro Orlando hospital with a broken leg, and with shackles around him, with a guard watching him the whole time, which he deserves for that pathetic idea.
Stupid does.
Yes, indeed. Well, folks, that is Bossman Bone. Gave you some sports in Florida, as you love us to do. Check us out at BossmanShow.com. Always Bossman Bone. We are out.
Bye.